Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. Today, we are just talking about TV. TV shows that we like, TV shows that we can relax to. Like initially this was going to be like you must be stressed because Donald Trump is still president. Let's watch TV and bury our heads in the sand episode. But no, it's just going to be like, let's watch delightful TV and kind of celebrate. Our guest today is Ashley Ray. She is the most famous Black bisexual, solo polyamorous, queer comedian, actor, and writer currently based in Los Angeles. She is originally from Chicago. She has been accused of destroying the building blocks of society as a pop culture writer for The Guardian, Vice, Vulture, Elle, The Onion, and Cosmopolitan. She is the host of TV, I Say, the podcast about television, and in 2020, she edited Maria Bamford's audiobook, You Are, a comedy special. When she's not racking up sexual orientations for her bio, she's performing at comedy festivals and clubs around the country and on Twitter. Any of her tweets that disgust you are just jokes. Any that make you laugh are elusive gems, highlighting the complexity of the human condition. Okay, she wrote that. But it's a great bio. And I did want to talk about my IUD because I did it, you guys. Even though this episode is late, I did it. I went to the gyno. I got all of my my things done. I got my pap done. So I got to wait for that. I guess they would have called me today, maybe tomorrow. I have to wait for the results of that. Got a new IUD because shock horror. I thought I had a year left and my gyno was like, no, you need a new IUD. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm like here before I go back to Portland. Not that Portland doesn't have doctors, but like I feel safe with my doctor. And she was like, yeah, do you want to put it in now? And I was like, do people normally take like painkillers before or like anesthesia? She was like, no. And I have an IUD, obviously. So I know how the process went the first time. And I was like, I don't know if I want to put myself through that again. But she was like, the second time's like much easier, like the recovery. But yeah, as far as doing it on the spot, she was like, you can do it tomorrow if you want. And I was like, I can't come in from Jersey. So I was like, I'm just going to do it now. And it was like 3 cramps, and she warned me before all the cramps. She was like, you're going to feel a cramp, you're going to feel a pinch and a cramp, you're going to feel another cramp, and that's the IUD coming out. And I guess I had cramps like the whole next day, but it was nothing. A lot of you were like asking about my experience the first time because it was fucking hell. And you guys probably, if you have an IUD, like I know a lot of people go through like difficulties. Mine is the one with the least amount of hormones above the copper wire one. We put in Kylina this time, but the first time I was like bleeding a lot for like a full month, like to the point that I had to wear like adult diapers. I think I talked about that at some point, but maybe not. But yeah, tell me your IUD stories. Because I think we're going to have an upcoming episode on trying to become pregnant and also trying to avoid becoming pregnant. But yeah, I'm excited for this episode because TV is one of my favorite hobbies. Like today I saw a TikTok and it was like this girl scrapbooking or whatever. And a bunch of people were being like, this is like a waste of time. And she was like, it's a hobby. Like this is one of my favorite things to do. It brings me joy. Like, do you make fun of people for like watching like hours of TV? And like some people do, but like for the most part, no, like you shouldn't, because like it's a nice hobby and like life is hard. So like whatever helps you cope, TV. I mean, whatever helps you cope, you use it. But yeah, I love TV. I've always said it's like my number one hobby. And at one point in this episode, me and Ashley are talking about this show, Love on the Spectrum. And I was thinking about it when I was watching it because everybody on that show when they're dating asks each other like, oh, what are your hobbies? And like, I would look at Ben and I'd be like, I don't have any hobbies, but like TV is my hobby and I'm proud of it. So, I'm excited to have this episode. We waited like all week to record it because we were like waiting with bated breath. We were like the election. And yeah, this was recorded on the day that we found out results. And so it was like, it's a nice time. Big shout out today to Allform. Helix has gone beyond the bedroom, started making sofas, and just launched a new company called Allform. They're making premium customizable sofas and chairs shipped right to your door. To find your perfect sofa and get 20% off all orders, go to allform.com/howcome. That is Allform, ALLFORM.com/howcome.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Ashley, I'm so excited to have you here on this historic day.
Yeah, I'm in a beautiful mood. Obviously, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
My Twitter account just got suspended. I'm loving it.
I was gonna say, I was like, Ashley went and got herself suspended. Like, what happened?
I mean, I always knew the day would come that I would sacrifice my badge for the bit, and today was the day. I just always was like, I was gonna know. I was like, the second I felt it, and I knew.
I'm gonna be Donald Trump. What did you say?
He had that tweet that was like, I won this election by so much, and then I changed my name because I have a badge.
Yeah.
So I changed it and put his picture, and then I was just like, oh, I meant to say erection.
Hilarious.
Like, fucking autocorrect.
Amazing.
Yeah, they took my badge in 2 minutes, if even. I like refreshed it, and I was like, oh, they just took my badge. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually fine. Whatever. I don't care about being fucking verified on Twitter.
I mean, it's a win for blue and then a loss of your blue.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, I got the blue check because I had this like media job. So I was like, whatever, if I lose
I'm
it
sure
now.
You'll get it back. Yeah,
I was like, I'm a comic. People know what I do by this point, whatever. And then I refreshed the page 5 minutes later and it was like account suspended. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I was saying to Robin, it's kind of like Murphy's Law with this podcast. Like, we always get people on and then their accounts get like taken down for like shadow banning or something they did or like whatever it was. But it's like the week that we put your episode out, like it will be tough to promote. So fans, if you're listening, this is on you.
I think I just need to like pay penance to the Twitter gods and be like, I promise I'll never do it again or whatever.
You're just in like a little baby timeout.
Yeah.
And like to celebrate, like what a fun day anyway.
Yeah. It's just, out of all the weekends to do it, at least I know everyone's just like celebrating, partying.
Yeah.
I'm still on my secret accounts, like looking at all the jokes. It's great.
Of course.
And
are those your roommates?
My roommate and her friend.
Like,
they were like, we're drinking mimosas and eating edibles over here. I'm high. You probably can tell.
Like, New Jersey's legal now.
Oh hell
yeah!
I love that. I'm just so happy about this. And yes, there we go.
Oh my god, what a fun day! I knew this was gonna be a good recording.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be so fun. We're all gonna be in a good mood. I mean, if things had gone the other way, I would have been like, I can't do this. I'm crying.
Very somber day. No, and the thing is like also, it wasn't a landslide, so like we should still be like a little sad. Because like there are so many people who still are like so fucking evil, but like at least there's like enough.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting a landslide for Biden. I think most people know I was like a big Bernie person, so I definitely wasn't like, oh, this is gonna be super easy for Biden. And even with COVID, I was like, that doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to be wrong. I think, of course, a lot of people still voted for Trump, but it's beautiful to me that Biden did not only win the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College so thoroughly that even if like we're contesting votes in Georgia, it's like, it doesn't matter. If you want to contest votes in Arizona, it doesn't matter. It's just like Trump lost so wonderfully to me that gives me hope in the country that like, okay, we still have work, but I don't know. I guess.
Did have a moment where I pictured him trying to abolish the Electoral College, though.
Yeah.
And like that happening this way and just like still being happy.
And I would still be so happy. Like if Trump is just like, I'm getting like, he would just lose because he
lost.
And has won like what, more votes than any president in history in the popular vote.
Yeah.
Like he lost. So even if Trump is like, we're getting rid of the Electoral College, I'd be like, thank you. It's a wonderful idea.
Good. That's a win for us.
Yeah.
And like, I'm stoked for us to all get on the same page about COVID. Like that it's not going to be a political thing to wear a mask. It's not going to be a political thing to stay inside. You're not going to be like a cuck snowflake loser.
Loser.
Like It's like
because
I think
because you
it's
want to
gonna
get
go
tested
away.
regularly.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm genuinely like, okay, because I think things are going to get really bad. We're obviously having these huge spikes right now, so I think this next wave is coming. I don't even know what wave it is, but obviously things are going to get bad, and I at least feel like we have someone who cares about that, who's going to take it seriously, who isn't just like, it'll be gone by Easter. But I actually hope now, like, oh, with it, like, in a year.
Fauci's probably so happy. He's like, no one's going to threaten to behead me.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you and Steve Bannon both got banned.
Oh, wow. Twitter took out me and Steve.
You and Steve Bannon.
I don't want to say, but like, I think that speaks for itself.
It really does.
I think that says all it needs to say.
Robin doesn't know this, but we pushed this back like so many times just because we were like, we should just like respond like accordingly, because like this whole week, like initially I was like, okay, this episode we're just going to talk about TV and like what you can watch to like unwind that's not the news or something, because like a lot of people were just like so glued to the TV. And now I think it's obviously like a pivot to like, okay, what do we watch now that we are relaxed?
Yeah. And also this whole week, all I watched was the news. I was like, I kept telling myself, don't watch MSNBC, turn it off, take a break, watch something else. And I would just watch like our cartoon president. And then I'd just be like, it's so funny. I love it. And then I would just be like, well, I may as well just watch the news. Like, I
loved Fox News this week. It was so wonderful to just like watch that. Like, I honestly do think they did a good job. Like the scariest thing about the potential of losing is like war, right? But like Fox News hasn't been trying to do war still. Like,
they kind of they ease their viewers into it. I feel like by calling Arizona earlier than everyone else, people were really upset about that. But it was kind of like, okay, you guys need to face this, because even without Arizona, this man is gonna win. So like, maybe just get used to that reality.
And like, don't embarrass for like us or yourselves for the future. Like, there's going to be Republicans forever, but like there was just it's just Donald Trump. Like,
just time to distance yourselves, time to call it out. That was a mistake. Let's I don't know. I think the Republican Party obviously has a lot of soul searching they need to do. I don't know that they have the souls to do it.
Democrats too, though. Honestly, like some of the winning that's exciting is like, now we can call Joe Biden out for a bunch of shit that we don't like.
I am so excited to call out Biden Harris. That's fun. I love making jokes about, our VP is a cop. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
And I think that I think this was a good, nice year of learning for the people that did learning. For the people who didn't, unfortunate. But like
the people who picked up a book over the summer, that's like, oh, I kind of understand a little bit. Like, we should abolish the police. Like, they kind of can look at this presidency now and go, oh, wait, we got to ask more questions. It's not just. It's not just enough that our VP is a black woman, but they can be harmful too. So that's my hope, is that we as a nation kind of get smarter to that.
Totally. That's the other thing. Is like, people are like, oh, now we're not a lot of people, but I've heard some people being like, now we can go back to normal. It's like, no, the goal is like to like move forward and make more progress. And you can have normal days where you're not stressed out of your fucking mind anymore. Like, we can give you that. But otherwise, like, you should still want to make progress.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I don't know, it feels better knowing we don't have someone in office who could, I don't know, like start a world war from Twitter. Like, okay, we can breathe a little easier.
I love that for us. Way. I love watching a boring political speech.
Yeah. And then we can still be like, okay, but hey, kids in cages, that started under you, Biden. So like, what are you doing?
Get them out.
Yeah. So I think I feel more hopeful than I did. I have more hope in like the white people of America, and hopefully the Democratic Party realizes the value of funding grassroots organizations, especially those led by people of color, Black people.
Yeah.
Because clearly they're getting the job done. They come on.
The white women are not doing a great job.
No.
We are very embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't love that. But hopefully they can do better.
Yeah. I will say, in terms of like white women doing better and television, which is why you brought me on the podcast.
Yeah.
I will say I have been enjoying The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. That is like a show about a solid white girl. Like I'm just like, I lost a lot of faith in white female, people because of the elections, but also TV shows when I saw Emily in Paris. Emily in Paris was right. It was so bad.
I was like, this is the worst TV I've seen in a really long time. I'm going to keep watching it for sure. I'm going to finish it in one day.
Stop.
Yeah. And then somebody told me if you watch it as a farce about French culture, it's good. But I
could see that.
Yeah.
I also worked in advertising and media and marketing, and Emily did remind me of so many just like horrible like media white women who like went to state school and they love brunch that I worked with. She really did remind me of them.
Their major in every conversation. She's like, I work in marketing. Hello.
Yeah, I work in marketing. I majored in communications. The Queen's Gambit, though, I loved it so much.
I haven't finished it yet because I started it and I was like, okay, it's great. I love her. I'm rooting for her. Yeah. And then the election started and I was like, I can't.
Yeah. I was disappointed in myself because I finished it before the election, and all this week I was like, I wish I still had the world of Beth Harmon and chess to just distract me from numbers.
Can you play chess?
I can. I'm not like great. I mean, my school had a chess club. Well, I guess it was like,
okay.
I'll explain. My fourth grade teacher was like this weird sexist, and she would have all the girls learn how to knit and all the boys would have to learn how to play chess.
Oh my God.
And I just thought that was stupid. And the boys would get to go outside to play chess because you can like go outside and play. And she would make the girls stay inside and knit. And I would be like, screw this. I'm going to go learn to play chess with the boys. Also, there were only 3 girls in my class. So just imagine like 3 girls forced to stay in a tiny room and knit, and then all the boys are outside.
Where'd you grow up?
Rockford, Illinois. And it's a whatever town. I went to this small weird school, and so I would like as a point of rebellion like go hang out with the boys and learn chess. But it was as much a political statement as it was me actually caring about chess. I learned enough to play it, and I could beat some of the boys, but I also was like, I'm not going to go like compete at state with you guys. This is about me making a point to Mrs. Sasali about how you can't keep women in a knitting box, bitch. Yeah,
you cannot. It's funny that you say that because I, for some reason, always thought like checkers was more for me and that chess was for boys.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't wrap your little lady brain around chess. But yeah, we're going to need a lot of TV when we're quarantined again.
Yes.
And Queen's Gambit, I think, is great.
Yeah.
Love that she's smart. She's from a disenfranchised place. So like she can relate to other people and other people can relate to her.
Yeah. And, to the show's credit, it's set in the 60s. So obviously it's a fairly segregated show. It's set in Kentucky. Yeah. They do try to like shoehorn in this like Black female friend character. And I had some critiques there because it's a little too like,
it's a little too like help the white like character in her journey. Yeah.
But they do try to like very much make it like clear that she's like, I'm not doing this because I'm your savior. I'm doing this because I know you're gonna pay me back. And she like, has her own aspirations. Yeah, she's like, I have these goals, and so I don't know if the show is getting another season or it's a mini series or like what the deal is, but I think there's room to grow that character, to grow other characters, the way the show uses flashbacks. So I think it's one to invest in. Watch it. It's enjoyable.
This wasn't a show, but somebody recommended me Yes, God, Yes. Did you watch that movie?
No.
It's about a Christian girl who's learning to
on Netflix. Yeah.
Get on board with her sexuality.
Yeah, here's my thing. When I obviously started my podcast TV, I say, where I talk about everything I watch on TV, which is too much TV. And that I like don't watch movies. I'm such a TV club person. Like movies, it takes me forever to get around to being like, oh, people said that was good, I guess I'll check it out.
I thought Yes, God, Yes was a TV show. And I was just watching the first episode and I was like, wow, like the timing on this TV show is very interesting. And then I got to the end of it and I was like, it's a movie.
Okay. So I actually had that happen to me recently in reverse. I was like, oh, I want to watch, I think it's like Vampires in the Bronx or something. And it's like Mero from Desi Samaro has and it's like him with kids in the Bronx like killing vampires. And I was like, you know what? For Halloween, I'll actually watch a scary movie with like this guy killing vampires. That'll be fun. And I opened Netflix and I was like, what is it? And I was like, oh, I think it's this show, something like Kid Army or something. And I click on the show and I was like, yeah, teens. And I started watching the show called Grand Army. And I was like, it's these kids in like the Bronx. And I'm like, when are they going to start killing vampires? And I was like, when is Marrow going to show up? And I was like, wait, I thought this was a movie. And then it was like episodes. And I was like, oh, maybe this is like a, and then I realized I was watching some like new Netflix teen drama called Grand Army that has nothing to do with Marrow.
That's so funny.
Like, and I it took 2 episodes before I realized, oh, this is not what I thought it was.
I went into Napoleon Dynamite, the movie, without ever seeing the commercials, and I thought we were going to see a war film. And then I got there and I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I like to go into things cold. I like to just like experience it. I don't like to do a lot of research before I watch things, which sometimes works out. And sometimes you end up like 5 episodes into Grand Army and all of a sudden you're just like, I guess this is just like a thrilling
I watch
new
now.
Degrassi. Yeah. I watched the whole thing and I would, if you're into shows like Degrassi or if you like 13 Reasons Why, Grand Army is a fair it's a fair next step in that tradition. It's like one of those over the top things where you're like, at one point, the funniest parts of the show are when a 15-year-old is like, I'm 15, I'm not ready to do acid, and you're like, you look like you have a mortgage, you look like a 35-year-old. Like what
it's
is
like
this
Rizzo
school?
and Grease.
Yeah. And that's like the funniest part of the show. But then it is like pretty interesting what it has to say about like the Me Too movement and believing women and, you know, how kids today are growing up, I guess, today. I don't really know how realistic it is.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like when I watch Euphoria, I'm like, are they all doing drugs?
Right? I'm just like, I mean, I don't know.
Robin's like, yeah.
Yeah, they're really doing it. Wow. I guess these kids today are so cool. I don't know. I have nieces that age and I'll talk to them about like Ariana Grande and think I'm cool. And they're just like, you're lame. That's
so funny. Okay, wait. So we are about to rattle off so many TV shows that it's going to make your head spin. You're going to have so much TV to watch and it's going to be amazing. And that's literally the point of the episode, is just to get you all cozy and inside and like doing stuff, watching stuff that makes you feel things and love things and inspire you. Like I used to get really offended when my mom would be like, oh, you're such like a bed person, like you just sit in bed all day, and like she just took my bed personness as like laziness, but really like I've started a revolution from my bed mom, to quote Oasis. But literally I do everything from my bed or a couch or whatever, and I feel like if this year has proven anything, it's that like you can do that. Like you can have a full functioning job and be a lazy lady. So yeah, my future, I plan to just have like a Helix mattress in the middle of an office, or maybe like a whole floor of Helix and then like a waiting room with like all form furniture. So anyway, if you have not heard of Helix before and you're just like, what is that? So Helix Sleep makes my favorite mattress of all time. I have a Helix Sleep mattress in my New York apartment, or I guess in storage now. And it's one of the best things I've ever received. And Helix has gone beyond the bedroom and they started making sofas. They just launched a new company called Allform, and they're making premium customizable sofas and chairs shipped right to your door. So if you want to like move up from bed to sofa and just get like a little less lazy but still really cozy, Allform. Allform sofas are so cool. For starters, it's the easiest way you can customize the sofa using premium materials and at a fraction of the cost of traditional stores. You can pick out your fabric, and it's spill, stain, and scratch resistant. The sofa color, the color of the legs, sofa size, and shape to make sure everything is like perfect shape for your home. They've got armchairs, love seats, all the way up to an 8-seat sectional. So there's something for everyone. And if you start small, you can add more. If you like grow, or if you go to another apartment, if your family grows and you move to another apartment, it can grow with you when you move. Allform sofas are also delivered directly to your home with fast, free shipping. In the past, if you wanted to order a sofa, it could take weeks or even months to arrive. And you would need someone to come and assemble it in your home and like move it. No, Allform takes just 3 to 7 days to arrive in the mail, and you can assemble it yourself in a few minutes. No tools needed, and they come in boxes. It's not like, I remember getting my sofa delivered in college, and it was like such an experience. Okay, so anyway, I have an Allform, or I don't. Ben's parents have an Allform chaise that I got for them. It is so great. It is like it's like cream colored, mahogany legs, and it literally took like 10 minutes for us to set up. It looks very fancy, but it's also comfortable. They are like obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. My cat is currently staying in their house, like with them, and I think it's just because like I got them a chaise, so they like feel like they owe me. But they don't. They're so affordable. And if getting a sofa without trying in a store sounds like a little risky to you, you don't need to worry. You get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it. That is more than 3 months. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up for you and give you a full refund. They also have a forever warranty, literally forever. So to find your perfect sofa, check out allform.com/howcome. And Allform is offering 20% off all orders for our listeners at allform.com/howcome. Again, that is allform.com/howcome. But so there was a part in Yes, God, Yes that made me laugh because it was amazing. But also, she masturbates with a Nokia phone.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
Someone actually told me that was in that movie, and they were like, you should see if they like stole this from one of your tweets. And I was like, I've never tweeted. I've like talked about it, but okay. Yeah, I was like, I mean, maybe I did and deleted it, but I mean, I feel like it's a common experience if you grew up in the 2000s, early 2000s. Like I got a cell phone when I was like 12, 13, like 7th grade.
Yeah. Same.
And that's around that weird age when you're like, I don't know, you're like staying up late and watching weird stuff on HBO and Cinemax.
Real sex.
And yeah, real sex. And that was around when the L Word debuted. And
okay.
I obviously, even at that age, I mean, come on, I grew up in Illinois in a very liberal area. I knew it was okay to be gay. So, you know, I saw the cast of the L Word on the Daily Show, and I was just like, oh my God, these are the most gorgeous women of my life. I'm going to stay up late and secretly watch the L Word. And if I hear my mom, I would like click back to Nickelodeon and be like, nothing, mama, I'm just watching Growing Pains. And like something on the show, there's like a part where like one of them talks about like using a vibrating toothbrush, and that like clicked in my head that I was like, oh, something that vibrates there. That's like a thing. And the only thing I had that would vibrate was, of course, like my Nokia phone, like one of those old ones that just like had the numbers.
Played Snake.
And like I did buy like a custom phone
and
case.
Clam, but
yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. And the only way to get it to vibrate was like to test ringtones.
Yep.
And so I would just like go up and down the menu, like testing ringtones to get it to vibrate.
You have to like find your sound of choice.
Yeah, and like if you turn the volume down, it would like not really vibrate, so you had to like find your pattern. It was a whole experience, and I feel like that is common, and that was the first time. Like
amazing. And it's I feel like whenever I tell the story about like discovering how to come, like I'll kind of lie and be like, oh, I didn't know really that women could do it for such a long time. But that's not true, because you did find out in health class that vibration can help. Yeah. And so for that reason, a lot of us maybe got a Mach 3 razor from our brother's bathroom or something, or like a vibrating toothbrush or something like that.
Or a toothbrush or a phone. Or, you know, there was, I can't remember what show, like it was some show you watched coming of age range, but they said something about, it might have been the L Word. They say something about like a shower head, and I was like a removable one, and I was like, holy shit, I have a removable shower head. And it just it clicks, you know.
No, and they did say stuff like that too, that they were like shower heads, jets, like you knew that there were things that got people off, but then a lot of it, like nobody ever said like you might have to wait longer for like it to work.
Yeah, it's like, and also it's very different with a person.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, and at my school they did not really teach us that in health class at all. I went to, again, just a very weird small
Mm-hmm.
school, so I feel like I learned most of that from media. It was like
Mm-hmm.
TV shows that I was learning it from, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of how I learned like how to explore your sexuality with a partner in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And I don't think everyone grows up like getting to watch the L Word in Real Sex. So that's probably
Well,
why I
but
figured
real
out my
sex and the
queerness
L
so
word are
early.
the ones that you like. You do that thing that you flip back and forth, like,
Oh
or whatever.
yeah.
Like, I loved fucking real sex.
Taxi Cab Confessions. That one.
Amazing.
Oh, love.
MTV Spring Break when everybody
Oh
was
yeah.
half naked,
Oh, Undressed. Did you do?
undressed.
I think about Undressed probably once a week still. There's this episode where like there's a girl basketball player and she's like the star of the basketball team, but she realizes she can only win games if she has sex before the game. And so she
Mm-hmm.
starts like using this guy just for sex before the game, but then like he gets feelings and it's all weird. And I don't know why, but I still just think of her as like a
Yeah.
hero to me. At a young age, I learned like you
You
can
gotta
just
get
have sex
yours.
and it can get your game up. And
Mm-hmm.
if a guy gets feelings, you hide him in a locker. That's, I don't know, that was part of the plot of the episode, but it all made sense and it deeply inspired me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've definitely have that where I'll be like, we have to have sex before I do this comedy show.
Yeah, it gets the nerves out.
If I bomb, it's on you.
It's on you. Masturbating, getting it out.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I guess during quarantine, I mean, I'm poly, so I'm not really dating. It's, I had partners I was seeing like kind of long distance, but at a certain point,
Yeah.
it's like, it's not worth me breaking quarantine to go like see someone who has a primary and all that stuff. So I've had to rely on so much media to get me through these like desperately horny times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful. Like I've had Insecure and Normal People on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some wonderfully horny TV shows.
Insecure is very horny. I have not seen. What was the other one?
Normal People.
Okay.
It's the okay. I say it's horny, and maybe it's because when it came out, it was like 2 months, 3 months into quarantine, and it's about this couple in Ireland, and they've known each other since high school, and they go to college together, and it's like a will they, won't they, like deep lust, and oh my gosh, like they just like touch each other's thumbs, and you're like, oh my god, and. But then like, I don't know, some people watch it and they're just like, this is like the most slow moving thing. And I was just like, oh my God, like I would just like cut my throat off to just like touch his thigh. So I would recommend watching it. It's a great like horny quarantine watch to like see these two people fall in love.
Romance horny? Yeah, the best.
Yeah, it's like, it's like emotional horny. Like you're like, oh my gosh, he supports her so much. Like, oh my gosh, he's there for her when she needs someone. Like, oh my God. And then when they finally do like have these, and also the scenes are really well done. This is one of those shows that I think was like lauded for how it used an intimacy coordinator. And you really feel it. Like the two people have so much chemistry that you're like, when will I ever have chemistry with anyone again? When will I just even be in a room with someone ever again?
Also, in those scenes, like the music that they use, like in certain sex scenes, like the sex scenes from True Blood, which was like one of my like earliest like horny shows.
Horny
like that was my go-to.
True
like
Blood is a
the
truly
second
horny show.
You see one of those songs in a sex scene, it goes right to your playlist.
Yeah.
Like for masturbating, like
you want? Okay, I'm gonna share an embarrassing.
Okay.
This is okay. I'm gonna, because I feel safe. For
good.
me, a show where a lot of the music inspired me in horny ways is Girls. A lot of my like horny playlist is songs from Girls, which is like
good music.
They have great music and like the Echo Friendly Same Mistakes. That's one of my favorite songs, and it's like when Hannah and like Adam get back together in some scene it plays. In those moments, I'm just like when she realizes Adam is dating her friend and like her heart breaks, like
oh my God.
That kind of I also, and like as I said, I started masturbating because of the L word. So for me, TV and emotion is very tied to my masturbating experience.
Yes.
And it's not about like it's just like setting a mood. It's not like it's not like I'm putting on the L word. I mean, the L word is hot, but it's like it sets a mood. And one of the shows I do that with is Grey's Anatomy, because I like the emotion of it. I like to call it Christ.
You want to be sobbing at the end?
Like you just want to like get all your emotions heightened, and you're getting like everything heightened, and it's like, and you're just like, you know, that I'm into. So
I'm going to share something with you because I feel safe. So like the way that like we're both comedians, right? Like I've often been like, I feel like I'm an emotionian because like, yes, I want to make you laugh, but I would love to make you cry as well.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, I like to set a mood. Sometimes I'll be like, how about happy ending reruns? Because I just want to like get some giggles in the back. I want to like enjoy, you know, jubilant kind of mood. And sometimes I want that Grey's Anatomy, like, you know, a cloudy Sunday morning vibe to the proceedings.
Broken masturbating.
Yeah, you know, or like, you know, if when I lived in Chicago, I mean, all I would do is like drink until 3 a.m, bike home alone at night, and like eat tacos in bed crying to Grey's Anatomy masturbating, and that's a process. That's a mood. You gotta. It's a way to process.
That's an aesthetic.
So. You know, use television to find your masturbation aesthetic.
Yeah,
you know, it can be a part of the process.
But also you can have like many different ones. Like I love, I've said this many times, like I can masturbate to Frasier. Like I love Frasier. I love Cheers. Anything that's like feel good, whatever. Like I'm just like so like at peace in the world that like nothing feels weird.
Okay, I'll share my the show that like is my longest running like show that I put on when I masturbate is The Daily Show.
Wow.
But only episodes with Jon Stewart.
Sure.
It only works with episodes with Jon Stewart. If it's Trevor Noah, it's too distracting and I can't do it.
Well, he's adorable, but it's not an attraction to him thing, is it?
No, and it's I don't know, but even like if I just hear the like da, 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 like I am like, where's my vibrator? Like it's like a Pavlovian thing where I'm just like that attuned to, and I think it's partially because my mom would usually like go up to her room and like
about that time,
yeah, and it was like 10:30 in Illinois.
She's gonna be locked in.
Yeah, and I was just like, she's gone, she can't really hear me, she's doing her thing. I can put The Daily Show on. I got my Nokia phone with me. Now's my time. You know, and my bedtime was like right after the Daily Show, so that was like. Yeah, and I also had a picture of Jon Stewart like on my wall next to my bed. So, I you know, I'll figure.
It's fine. I think it's a shrine to your time. I used to have a picture of Steve Martin, like on the wall, because
Steve Martin's hot. Honestly.
Yeah, it was him in the Pink Panther though, so it was like he was like so old by then, and I was just like so horny for him.
I mean, I feel like that is one of my favorite things about I don't know, being like a teen girl on like hormones or just like going through that change, where I had just the most confusing crushes. I wanted to just like fuck Kurt Cobain so badly, and he was dead.
Yeah.
But I had like a poster above my bed that was like Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, and Jimi Hendrix, and they were all like ghosts. And I would just be like, oh man, they're my dream. Like,
I also loved abusive rock stars. I used to cry about the fact that I was not able to be a groupie for Guns N' Roses in the 80s.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I used to like pray. I'd be like, I wish I could just wake up at Woodstock. And like be with Jimmy. Like I was born in the wrong decade. I used to be like, fuck you, mom. And like my mom was born in 1950. She lived through all of it, and she would just be like, you fucking suck. And I would just be like, you don't know what you had, mom. Like, like, and the thing is, I was born in 1990. So when Kurt Cobain died, I was like 3, and I did not aware of it. And I didn't start listening to Kurt Cobain until I was in like 5th grade. A friend was like, you got to check this band out. And he like burned me a CD, and I immediately fell in love. I was like, listening to Nevermind. I was like, this is wow. And I got so into Nirvana. I like made t-shirts with like Sharpies. I was like, I love Nirvana. They're my favorite band. My friend gave me like all their CDs. And then one day I was like sitting at home and watching like a VH1 Behind the Music marathon and an episode about Nirvana.
They're like, he's dead.
Yeah. And like, well, I was like, time to watch a documentary about my favorite fucking band. This is so perfect.
Oh, no.
And I sit down and I'm like, holy shit, Nirvana, mom, this, but, and then I keep watching and I just was like, Mom, why didn't you tell me? I was like, why didn't you tell me he died? And she was like, I thought you fucking knew, dumbass. Like, how did you? But it's like, I was just like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I was putting fucking Kurt Cobain pictures all over my walls and you didn't think to be like, you know, he's dead.
You don't have a chance.
Yeah, and it's not like this was like when I could just like go Google it and be like, you know, when I wasn't on like Angel Fire websites like learning about Nirvana, or there wasn't like a Wikipedia page.
That's so funny. Besides the horny shows that we've already, were there any shows that you felt like derailed your sexuality or like mistaught you stuff?
Oh, definitely. The movie The Secretary, James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's called Secretary. It came out like early 2000s, but it used to play on IFC late at night all the time. And so like the IFC channel I loved it. I would stay, I was a pretentious asshole kid. So I would be like, oh, I'm 15 and I watch the IFC channel.
Yeah.
I saw Secretary and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like this, if you're not familiar, it's like this girl in her early 20s is like all shy and quiet, and she like gets a job as a secretary in this legal law firm, and the lawyer guy is like, it turns out, into the like all this like S&M shit, and he like is into abusing his secretaries, and he basically starts abusing her, but then it turns out she's into it, so then they start dating, and then she's like, no, I'm in love with you, and he's like, no, you like inhibit the worst in me or whatever. But I like, to me, it just like, I was, and the girl is like, she's quiet and she like cuts herself, she's like dark and complex, so of course I was like, oh my gosh, I relate to this like dark complex girl. I need to lean into that further. Partner who is, I need to like have a partner who is so complicated. And there's like a part where he would like tell her what to eat at night and be like, you should have this, like 3 peas and 2 ounces of potatoes, and she would like do it. And like to this day, the original that is still like 50 Shades of Grey, of that, like, and like that's still something that I think is hot, when I'm just like, oh, this person is like telling me what to eat, and like people will just be like, why do you want me to tell you what to get for dinner? And it's like, because of bad habits that a stupid movie I saw on TV when I was like 14 showed me.
Yeah, or it could just be like sub habits. But like, I think what's implied there is that like, if somebody does something like against your will for a while, like, and then eventually like you start to like that makes it okay. And it's like, no,
because like that's the thing, is in the movie doesn't do a great job of being like, she does in the end, she loves it and she like reads books and like educates herself on S&M and is like consenting. But it's like, to get there, it's a very confusing message. So, you know, and I, being like a young queer weirdo, like got to kind of educate myself. And so I was like, well, no, I can enjoy it in a more ethical way. But, you know, I still think the weird things you watch, like, just like shape your sexuality when you're like a preteen.
Yeah. Or even just like the most like basic, like I feel like Sex in the City is where like a lot of us, like it was like Sex in the City and then Girls, they're like the building blocks of like kind of like becoming like a sexual woman. And like Sex in the City was like admitting it for the first time. But what always pissed me off about it was that like Carrie, who was like the sex columnist, would never give her opinion on like hot button issues. Like we'd be talking about anal or something, and she would be like, oh, leave me out of it or something. Or like
she acted like she never knew anything about it.
Right. Or she called bisexuality a one-way train to gay town or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. I did not watch Sex in the City when it first aired. You know, I am Black, and it just did not resonate with me. I watched Living Single and stuff like that, and I don't know, the preppy girls in my school watched that, so I was a little whatever. But actually over quarantine, I watched all of it. I watched it all in like a week.
Wow.
And the movies. I watched the movies. I watched everything.
Oh my
Wrote
God.
actually an entire like plot for a potential third movie. I got
Amazing.
so into it. And I don't know. I guess at this older age, looking back on it, I could appreciate it as like very of its time. But I could see how if I was in high school or middle school, whenever it came out watching it, how I would have been like, oh my gosh, like this is how I need to be as like a cool woman, or like as if I want to be this type of woman, I need to like dress and look and act this way and be into these type of sex acts.
But also, if I'm going to be a sexual person, like I feel like pre-nose jobs, I looked just like Sarah Jessica Parker, and so I think I really related to, like, I was like, okay, so you can be sexual, but like you have to be, you can't really be loud about it, even if you're the sex columnist. Like it's still like icky if you're the one talking about masturbating.
Yeah,
like they always gave the different storylines to the other women. That if it was like, if someone's gonna hook up with a woman, it's gonna be Samantha. If someone's gonna masturbate, it's gonna be Charlotte.
Yeah, and it's like there's still a sense of respectability you're supposed to have. You know, things you wouldn't do, things, you know, there's like a sense of still shame inherent in it. So
like
I don't
Charlotte
know.
admits to licking guys' butts like first.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, Charlotte. And she's like, what? They like it. And it's supposed to be like funny, but it's like, no, yeah, they do. Like,
they do. But instead it's like, they play it off as like, she's so stupid that she does that. Yeah. I don't know. I think we still need sort of some type of show that just is really kind of real about female sexuality and queer sexuality.
Yeah.
I think sadly Girls is still kind of the closest that we've gotten. I
Who's
mean,
gay and Girls besides Elijah? I can't think of any same-sex.
Well, there's
scenes.
When Hannah goes to like a silent retreat with her mom, she tries to have sex with a woman.
Oh yeah. Later.
And like
way later seasons.
Yeah, and she like way later, and yeah.
I
so
think
there
Euphoria
is that
is doing like a better job, definitely.
Oh yeah, Euphoria
because,
for sure.
Like, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that. I mean, I feel like with Euphoria, it's more on the ground, like something my nieces are also watching, where it's more like laying the groundwork of like, I don't know, a Grand Army or 13 Reasons Why or Degrassi, where it's like we're taking on these like topics of a new generation. But like, I don't know, I'm a millennial and I still feel like people are like, don't you guys are just like Emily in Paris, right? You just keep your shirt on during sex, and you know, I don't know. It's like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't know, where's I feel like all we got was Hannah Horvath. It's just the scene in Emily in Paris when she like gets eaten out and she like acts like it's never happened before, and she's just like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
I know. Or what about when she fucks that child and the mom is just like, oh, so how is my son as a lover? And nobody's like, he's 17.
Yeah, and they're just like, this is cool or funny. I really don't know what the show is trying to do in that moment. But I think it would be cool to just have a show about like a 30-year-old woman who like has normal sex with people her age.
Yeah.
And I don't know, she could be like bisexual or poly or weird or whatever, but I don't know. She doesn't even need to be in Paris. She could just be anywhere.
She could be in LA.
Chicago, New York, Jersey, whatever.
Emily in a COVID bubble.
Yeah. Anything is better than sort of like what they're giving us.
Do you think TV is going to change? Like, obviously, unscripted has changed because, like, COVID is, like, a very real thing, so you have to, like, address it. Like, I watch a lot of Bravo, and, like, COVID's been, like, a storyline for, like, every show, and it's great.
I obviously watched a lot of 90 Day Fiance, and they did an entire, like, spin-off series.
Wait, didn't Seth Rogen say he would come on and talk about 90 Day?
Yeah, he is. I'm freaking out about it. Yeah, that is on the pod TV. I say we have an upcoming conversation with Seth Rogen and Roxanne Gay discussing 90 Day Fiance. That'll be coming up later this month. It's such a good show, And they did a whole spin-off thing where they like address quarantine. They did like 90 Day Fiance in quarantine, and they just like gave everyone cameras to film themselves. And I feel like, yeah, TV's going to change, and it kind of already is. If you do watch any scripted stuff, like a lot of ABC sitcoms have had to change the way they film, and you can kind of notice that they
with
like will only
like
shoot things with
sex
certain
doubles and
casts,
stuff.
or
yeah,
and like stand-ins and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think we're going to see TV shift. The way that they're shooting everything is different. And like ways they've learned to edit shooting, things, they can do everything over computers now. Yeah,
as like a writer or like a pitching shit. Like I'm like, can we pitch stuff where people touch each other? Because like they shouldn't. Like it would be interesting to see a show where Corona like exists in a scripted world.
Yeah, I think Blackish Superstore have introduced COVID in their storylines, and Superstore is doing it in a more realistic way where they're like, well, these people work in a store, so you know, we see gloves and stuff like that. And Blackish was just kind of like, we're going to do one episode about COVID, and then the next episode was just like, okay, we're in a post-COVID world, let's move on. I don't know, like as a writer, I'm kind of just like, okay, what do? Do you write it in this moment? Do you say, you know, this purposely takes place in a pre-COVID world because you don't even want to deal with it? Or do you just say, we're moving on? Like,
this is in a world where it didn't exist.
I feel like at some point I'm gonna... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at some point we're all either going to get super tired of COVID storylines, or I don't know how they're going to... I feel like by the time we get to the Grey's Anatomy COVID episode, that's when it's going to be like, let's all move on. Come on.
Yeah. Apparently there's a show on Netflix called Social Distance about quarantine struggles.
Actually, Steven Weber is in it. I just had him on my podcast. He mentioned it. I have not watched it yet, but I guess it's like all filmed over Zoom or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but like if you like COVID content, it's out there. But I'm always thinking about like,
That's like I think the third COVID show. Actually, there's another one on Hulu. That's like called Love Connection or something. I've seen the ads. It's like two phones connected by cords. There's been just so many attempts to Mythic Quest on Apple TV. It did a whole episode over just like Zoom, you know?
But so for dating shows and reality shows, I love that COVID, and I don't love that COVID exists, but I love adding that layer to like Love Island this year. Like a lot of those cast members said that they otherwise wouldn't have gone on the show if they hadn't been so starved for like touch and testing, like, and just being in an environment where like you're encouraged to hook up, and like I was like, okay, we definitely got like a better cast because of it.
Yeah, I mean, you put me on a show like that right now, I would go wild. I would. Oh my, this whole year just feels like a waste. And I'm 29. I turned 30 this month, and I'm just like, I feel like I should get a do-over.
I know. No, everybody stops aging this year.
Yeah, it doesn't count actually.
But actually, like the time that we've spent inside, we weren't getting sunburnt or getting wrinkles. Like it's better.
It's true. My skin's never been better. I've just been doing my routine. I don't really go outside, so great.
What else are other good shows that I like that I was going to talk about? Okay, True Blood makes me horny. Duh.
Yeah.
Anything vampires is like pretty horny.
Yeah, vampires are just hot. I was watching a lot of What We Do in the Shadows over quarantine. So funny. And this second season, it was like just an all-star season. Every episode was so funny. Like I think people should talk about it more.
No, you guys should watch it, and the movie version as well.
Yes.
So fucking funny.
So funny, and a lot of hot people in it. The guy who plays Nandor, he's dreamy.
Shows that do sex ed well too, we were saying. Big Mouth.
Yes, Big Mouth. They're doing a spin-off of Big Mouth that's like the same team. And it's supposed to be about like the hormone monsters. If you remember the episode where they like go to, and it's like a whole episode based on that, or a whole show based on that concept. Yeah. I am so excited for that too. I love that whole team and all those people, like everything those people work on. I'm like, please. Sex Education is also on Netflix. That
I
Speaking of, so
know.
good.
I like avoided that one like the plague because I feel like it's very similar to my journey. Like the guy can't come and I couldn't come. And I was like, well,
Oh
if this show exists, then a how come TV show could never exist. So shut it down. But I don't think that's true now.
no, he's like, I mean, I don't know. He's like, his mom is like a sex educator,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I mostly watch for her actually. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's so great.
she's so great, so amazing and hot, and it's like every other character is so more interesting than him that you're like, oh right, this guy is in the show too. And like, oh
Mm-hmm.
right, I guess like he can't come or something, but like I'm really just like, oh my god, his like gay black best friend is like the coolest character I've ever seen.
I'll watch it. I think I
It's
was just
yeah.
like I didn't want the competition. But I think about that now and from when I first heard about it and I'm like, no, that's so stupid because that's like there being like one show about sex ever. Like, no, there's so
No,
many different types of sex and
yeah.
people having sex.
Do you white guys get to make so many shows about like their love lives and whatever stupid careers they have or whatever. We can have so many shows about sex. So many.
So many shows. So many different types of people. How I was speaking of different types of people, when did you come out as poly?
I feel like I'm fairly rare in this regard because I realized I was poly fairly young.
Mhm.
I was, I guess when I was 18
Mhm.
is when I kind of was like, I don't know that monogamy is for me. I was reading a lot of Simone de Beauvoir, and
Mhm.
like I said, I was very pretentious, and I was just kind of like, I had this like long-term partner, and I was like, hey, so I want to go to college in a different state. I think we should still be together. What if we like did an open thing, but we're still together? And he was all about it. You know,
Mhm.
he ended up proposing. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna have this like very hip new age
Cute.
understanding of marriage where I
Yeah.
travel the world and like I'm free to do my thing and I have lovers everywhere, but this is like, you know, my primary or whatever.
Mhm.
So that was kind of when I figured it out when I was like 19, 20 for sure. And then of course my senior year of college, we absolutely broke up, did not get married. Like he was a horrible person. I ended up
Oh.
single and I was kind of just like, oh my God, I'm never gonna go through that type of experience again.
Mhm.
But uh, like I still believed in love. It wasn't necessarily that
Sure.
I didn't want relationships, but I didn't
Mhm.
want sort of, I don't know, there was like a burden or responsibility that was expected because we had this label of being engaged. You
Yeah.
know, those labels mean sometimes more to society and other people than like what they mean to you and
Mhm.
your partner. And that I didn't like. Like his family basically like acted like I was a second mother to him. He was like on my
Mhm.
family self, like those kinds of responsibilities and things that I was like, what is paperwork and legal, all this? You know, that's not what I wanted. So
Right.
after college is when I kind of realized I'm gonna be solo poly. I'm just gonna like, and that was like a new phase of my polyamory when I was like, I'm gonna do this on my own and not like have a primary. So,
Mhm.
you know,
And
that
it's a
I
totally
consider that
different
my like,
experience.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's very, I guess, hard for people to understand women when they're solo poly.
Right.
I think most poly women are usually in a situation where they're dating a guy who wants an open relationship, and the guy is like, you can date girls, but not
Mm.
other guys, which I think is a horrible agreement.
Right,
Uh,
because it means they're not acknowledging the fact that yes, there's a chance she might fall in love with a
with a
woman.
woman, and
Yeah.
sex between women is valid, you know,
Doesn't count.
doesn't
Yeah.
count, or it's, you know, it just centers men in the whole, which I think is
Right.
horrible. But it's like, I don't know, it's like the trap so many poly women I know get stuck in, and I would meet
Mhm.
so many, and they would just be like, wait, you're just like single,
Mhm.
like you don't. And I would just be like, yeah. And they're like, but you see other people? And I'd be like, yeah, but you know, they all, you know,
Yeah.
but like they all know I'm single. Like I can have 3 boyfriends, but they all know that I'm single.
Mhm. Mhm.
uh and I don't
Actually, I was
know.
gonna say so we had Sharon season 1, and then Lorraine actually was on this season 2, and both of them are solo poly, and they're both
Hell yeah.
women. So all the ones
Yeah,
that we
like
know.
we're out here, and I don't know, guys always
Mhm.
think you're like lying. They're always like, she's just saying that so she can seem cool,
Seem
but
cool.
once
Yeah.
we start dating, she's like in love with me and wants to lock this down, and I'm just like, no.
You're like, I genuinely feel this way.
Yeah, like it's cool.
Does that ever throw them for a loop if like they think
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
gonna be different? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like guys will, I don't know, there's something in their brains that like trick them into being like, no, women want this, they expect romance, like every woman's end goal is to lock me down. And so a lot of times they like will trick themselves into being like Ashley, like say you're deeply in love with me, or like I don't know, wanting like more from me or something. It's just weird, the expectations they kind of put on you, and you're just like, no, I laid out all my expectations with my actual words. I'm not like playing some female enigma mind trick where I'm trying to like convince you that I want something else. I'm just being honest.
That's a trope that kind of has to go away too. And I think
Yeah.
we see that a lot of media is like girls pretending they're not interested when they are, and saying no, like, and making that like, I mean,
like,
this is
and
like
if but
a
you
rape
can
culture thing,
it's
but
a
also
rape culture where it's like you can
Yeah.
convince her, or she just doesn't realize that like her dream is actually being a housewife. And it's like, no, I know what I'm saying is what I mean. Like, you know, I'm not trying to be your second wife someday. Like, that's not my goal here. So, you know, this is what I want, and if you can't accept it, then I'm gonna move on. And I think a lot of times they're like shocked when I move on. They're just like what? Women aren't supposed to just be able to do that.
Probably hurts more. It's like when a guy turns you down for sex and you're like, wait, guys aren't supposed to
What?
It's like, no, they can.
No, they can. Anyway, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think a lot of people come to experience polyamory, and it's usually through like burlesque or some shitty situation where a guy is like, you can only date girls, and that gives you a bad experience of polyamory. But just know there are like normal people out here doing it our own way. We don't wear fedoras, we don't do burlesque. We're just like normal people who prioritize romance and friendship differently in our lives.
I haven't seen a scripted show about poly people. I know that there was that unscripted one on Showtime, the reality show that it was just called Polyamory.
Yeah.
And it was okay. It was super white and super like thin, like quote unquote digestible bodies.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, there's a lot of like reality show things about polyamory, but they're all either very white and I don't know, like rich white people, or slightly like cultish rich white people, or it's the other end where it's like super weirdo religious, and it's like my three sister wives and I. But there hasn't just been like, and there have been a few shows. Single Parents is like a ABC sitcom I loved, and they had a character who was like in a three-way relationship and was poly and bisexual. So it's something that like will come up casually as like a character trait that's usually treated as a joke. But you I don't feel like we have any shows really kind of just like treat it like a simple reality of like, oh, you know, I have a date with this partner. And I guess Insecure they tried really hard to have Dro be like in an open marriage, but it was still like, oh, isn't this scandalous? It's still very like, we're using polyamory to shock.
It's part of their,
I guess it's
a character trait that you normally wouldn't be like, okay, we can do an episode on this. Like, it would be like, let's do an episode on her being blonde.
Yeah, like, you know, like it's always like very special episode tone. Like, and that's what we learned about polyamory this week, you guys. And usually the lesson is something like, all men are liars who will cheat. And it's always like a very bad lesson. Like, you know, I don't know. Someday, hopefully, we get a just portrayal.
Robin just said, Robin, do you want to turn off your mute and say what you just said to me?
Oh, yeah. I just said that you, me, her is polyamory scripted, but they're together. They do like break up as a couple and go off and out dating in the poly sort of world, but it's very white and very kind of cringe at times, but it's something. At least
I did watch that show.
It's a new season.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. It's really one of those shows where it's really one of those shows where I like watched a whole season of it and I went, I guess that happened, and then I just move on, and then someone mentions it and it like flashes before my eyes, and I'm just like, wow. I watched every season of Revenge. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I watched
And
Revenge too. Why?
yeah, and just like just forgot about it, and then one day someone was like, they might reboot Revenge, and I was just like, Flash, like That's So
Yes.
Raven. I've seen every episode of that. I can't believe I just forgot.
I used to intern at this place, and like when the boss would leave, we would watch Smash on Hulu.
Oh, I love Smash.
And that I totally forgot that like I watched Smash, like, because I did it like while I was like at a job, and then like 3 years later, somebody started singing this song, and it was like Deja Smash, like all came back.
I want to rewatch it, and it's so hard to stream anywhere. But like, so if someone just like sings a song from it, I'm just like, yes, Smash, please. God, that show was so good. If I love a show, I will just beg. And I am the biggest hype person. Like, I think the best, like the Seduce documentary, the documentaries that came out about Keith Raniere and Nexium and the sex cult.
I haven't watched them yet.
Yeah, so there were two.
I don't like cults.
I'm super into cult stuff. There were two documentaries that came out, and one is like 9 episodes. It's called The Vow. It came out on HBO. Everyone was like, it's so good. Oh my God, it's like so long. And I hated it. I was like, this doesn't tell the whole story. And then another one came out called Seduced on Stars, but people were kind of ignoring it. And I just was like, no, I need to tell everyone about this injustice. Everybody needs to watch Seduce. And I just would tweet about it constantly, and just like, until eventually just everyone was tweeting about it. A bunch of articles came out that were like, yes, Seduced is the better one. I wrote an article that was like, come on, Seduced is the better one.
I feel like I did that for Love Island. Like, I made every New York City comedian watch Love Island. I think I started a podcast just for Love Island so that people would watch it. Like, because there's just stuff that you're like, this has taught me so much, and I think you will benefit.
You'll benefit. I just think if I think people will enjoy something, I want them to enjoy it. And I don't need to get anything from that. I just love spreading TV joy.
Me too.
Especially horny TV now during quarantine.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you don't have to watch, like, my like Twitter thing before comedy, anything was, I don't watch bad TV. I watch all TV.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't have to put yourself in a box of like, oh yeah, I like reality shows, so I can't like dramas. Like, you could like everything. You could like nothing.
Exactly. I don't know. A lot of people talk about like peak TV, and as a TV critic, how, you know, you should watch and like a certain caliber of show. And I just really disagree with that. I am just like, if something resonates with you, it resonates. My favorite shows during quarantine, 2 of them have been Intervention and Hoarders. Like, those are not peak TV shows, but like, they click with me. I can binge Hoarders for hours. I felt rescued
by RuPaul's Drag Race and The Real Housewives of New York and Beverly Hills. If they had not been around during quarantine, I would not. And those are the things that my mom used to be like, oh, those are a dirty little secret. Like, you don't tell people about their shows. I'm like, no, those things I bond with people super hard on now, because you can turn your brain off and just gossip about somebody that has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. And like Teen Mom is one where people would be like, wow. I had an ex-boyfriend who would be like, you just like admit to people that you watch Teen Mom. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I fucking watch Teen Mom and Catfish. Like, they're fun shows.
And you learn a lot. Like, people make fun of me, but I look at Love Island and the Housewives like franchise as like anthropological studies. Like, this is how women in this part of the country fight. This is how like a bunch of people will fall in love if you like orchestrate and hyper produce everything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, all of those, like the Netflix reality shows, the dating shows that came out, Love is Blind, The Circle. Gosh, I can't believe those were this year. It feels so long ago.
Tiger King was this year.
Yeah, like, Tiger King. What was the Love? It was like people with autism in love.
Oh, Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum. Oh, that one.
My favorite show.
Loved that show. I loved it so much. And that was like one of my highlights during quarantine, where I was just like, oh, like I have faith in humanity and faith in we're going to like get everyone who's their soulmate. Like, those shows, if they give you hope, if they resonate, it's peak TV. Like, peak TV
really is.
Just whatever makes you feel.
My boyfriend and I watched that series together, and we both cried at the finale, and I was like, I love him.
Yeah. It's just such a moving show.
It really is.
The one guy who's just like, all I've ever wanted to be was a husband. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh God,
A
bro, we're
number
gonna
one
get your life.
partner. That's me.
Just not. I just want to be a
Michael.
husband, and I'm going to love my wife, and yeah,
She
Michael,
will be
and
my
take care of
number
my
one
wife. And I
prize
just
in
was like, your
life.
prize life, and I was like, yes, yes, she will.
I love them
Yeah.
all. Please watch that show, you
Oh,
guys.
watch that show. It's so good.
I hear The Boys is good. I don't know if it's horny, but everyone likes that.
I love The Boys. I would not say it is horny because it's so visceral in a disgusting way. I love superhero shows. And The Boys is a really good one, and it's dark and it's funny, and it's just like your heart, you feel like you're gonna have a heart attack every episode. It's just edge of your seat. What are they gonna do? They take really weird risks. But it's just mostly weird, but it is really good. And I would
It's
say
like a little
the
appropriate for
hornier
right now
version,
too, though.
yeah, it's very like it's very on the nose politically. It has like stand-ins for Trump and all of this stuff, and like it's very much making a point about like, you know, fascism in America. And I think it does it pretty well. Like it's, you know, political enough that you aren't rolling your eyes at it. It's not like super cringy. It stays pretty on focus, but it's just, it doesn't quite get to horny because you're just so afraid. It's like too gross and terrifying. Like whenever you're just like, oh, is this person hot? Is this horny? Then it's like all of a sudden like things are like body parts are exploding everywhere. And you're like, oh no,
can't
this
be
is
horny
gross.
with that. What is the horny
can't
version that you
be.
were gonna say?
I would say a hornier version is Umbrella Academy. If you're into that genre of show of superhero, Umbrella Academy is way hornier, which I know is weird because siblings.
I haven't watched it. I've just seen the TikToks based off of it.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's, yeah, it has like,
I'm embarrassed of myself this episode. I like haven't watched any TV.
No,
I've just been watching the news.
That's just healthy, and the problem is that I watch too much TV. That's all that it is. It's
my friend who I'm still friends with in high school, she used to get so mad at me because she'd be like, "What'd you do last night?" I did like 8 hours of homework, and I'd be like, "Oh, I watched like 8 hours of TV," and she'd go, "Can you just call it neuroscience at this point, because like it's making me mad?" And I'd be like, "Okay, so I watched neuroscience on MTV last night."
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm constantly watching TV. I don't know, it's a problem. Like I'll just get bored and be like, I feel like watching 5 episodes of season 4 of Gossip Girl for no reason because it's a Thursday. I rewatched like 2 seasons of 30 Rock last week for no real reason. And then I'll sit down and be like, oh, that was just like 6 hours of my life.
Yeah. No,
like that was
I
just,
love
yeah,
that.
I just like sat down and rewatched something I've seen so many times. But I mean, I guess nice. I write TV. I write about TV, so I have to some extent study it. But also I just love it. Yeah.
But the reason why you love it and why you're able to study it so much is because, like, it's not just because it's something you do. It's because it's something you love.
I love it.
I used to think
TV.
of it as like, oh my God, it's such a waste of time. You know, like everybody makes you think it's such a waste of time when you're a younger person, especially like when homework is due.
Yeah.
And now, like, as a comic, as a writer, as an editor, like it's like, you know, the cadence of stuff because you've watched so much stuff. You know the options for flashbacks. Like that was an education.
Yeah. And it's, my mom used to always be like, go outside and play, go make friends. And I was the kid who would always be like, no, I want to stay in and watch Saturday Night Live reruns on Comedy Central. And now I'm just like I learned how to write sketch because I watch so much.
Totally.
You know, I still love watching Saturday Night Live because I just have for so long. And it really, those types of shows, watching like The State and all of that, really shaped my own comedy and my own voice and gave me an idea of what I could do. So to me, I don't know if it's like, if I can write my own stories and make my own shows and encourage other people to want to tell their own stories, that's the best outcome.
Totally.
Because I think just the more things we give people to engage with, the better the world will be, the more inspiring things can be.
Totally. And it's like nourishing. Like, don't let anybody
Yeah.
shame you for loving TV and getting shit
No.
from TV if you love TV, because
If you love
you
it.
might not necessarily go into it, but if it feeds your soul, like, why not delight in that?
Right. And like people don't do that with movies. People are never like shaming people for like being like, oh, I watched like
Never.
3 Ingmar Bergman movies. And I have a film background. I studied film in college too.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the whole like fucking pretentious movie, oh, let's like watch Hitchcock, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so empty to me. I don't know. It's like I feel like your time being diverse and sort of breaking away from white criticism and the sort of pedestal of white men. I feel like that it dominates still so much in movies. Like, most film classes are still gonna be like, oh my gosh, you have to learn Woody Allen and Polanski. And I hated that. And then TV is like, I would study the history of TV, and it's like, okay, in the 70s you already had shows like Good Times, and this is like Norman Lear, this is like people who are shaping TV and sitcoms and how they're even still made today. And there was just an earlier opportunity for diversity, and I just think that's a way more interesting story. So it doesn't make sense to me that we're like, oh, we look down on you because you want to talk about like Living Single or these TV shows, but it's so artsy and we should praise it if you want to like lick Martin Scorsese's dick or whatever.
Yeah. No, I TV like progresses or evolves faster.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many different stories that you could tell, and you also get like to know so many different characters.
Yeah, it can be a reflection of our times because it has to respond to things so quickly. There's more you can do with TV and movies. The movie, the film Twitter people, they come for me sometimes because I'm so TV deep. But I just think you can take more risks with TV. You can play around with things. It's just more room to tell certain arcs and certain stories. And I think as we get more complex representation on TV, and I think that's important, we really need to look at the benefits of TV and the different ways it can be made versus just saying, oh, well, it's not a movie, so it's not as prestigious. Or and I think as like we get more streaming, that's becoming more the break, where it's like, oh, well, you have this streaming show, but it was like a Quibi show or an Apple TV show, and that's not as prestigious as like a Hulu or Netflix show. And I think we just need to break all of that down and just be like, TV is TV, and if you like it, enjoy it.
What
and
do
watch
you
it.
like? Yeah, exactly. Also, if you don't like TV that day, it is so fine to go to TikTok in your bed.
TikTok, one of my favorite shows.
It's one of my favorite shows. Yeah. It's the best.
You can just hours.
so quickly evolving. So many inside jokes and layers.
Yeah, and that's why like channels like MTV are just like reruns of ridiculousness, and then it's just people watching TikTok on TV. Which is like, okay,
literally.
Fine. Yeah.
Okay, if you had to rattle off your favorite feel-good shows, what would they be?
I would go with Happy Endings, Living Single, 30 Rock, Tuca and Birdie. Yeah. And 90 Day Fiance. Any version of 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, 90 Day is one of those ones that's like real addictive. Like I never intended to watch it, and then like I got sucked in at a friend's house and finished a season.
Yeah.
So prepare to lose a day with that.
Yeah, once you get into 90 Day, it's like quicksand. You just like don't get out. Like once you find the couple you love, it's just a never-ending swirl. I
think for my feel goods, I would say Cheers and Frasier, which I named before. The Good Place. Yeah. Schitt's Creek. I don't. Which one? Not The Office anymore. I've watched it too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jane the Virgin.
Ooh, I have not watched that. I don't think I ever finished it. I think I have some seasons of that to watch, actually.
That's like multi-feeling. Like there's like, it's just great though.
Yeah.
It's a great fucking show.
I always was really into Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and they were like on it at the same time. And I would sometimes like I don't know. At some point, I just stopped watching. I should catch up on that this week.
I started Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and then I stopped midway through season 1. I don't know why.
It's worth finishing. It's a good show. It gets, and the second season of it is really strong.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and then one horny one I would say is Friday Night Lights.
Ooh, Friday Night Lights
everyone's
is so
like
horny.
so hot, and Tim Riggins.
Riggins. Ooh, Riggins. Friday Night is so horny.
So horny. I can't think of anybody else I'm like that horny for besides.
I'm trying to think of some more horny shows I watch.
I know Vampire Diaries people get really horny for. I have not watched it.
I haven't watched that, but I know people get horny over that in like Riverdale, but I don't really. I don't
Those
really
are too young for me.
Yeah, too young. I'm not
Outer
trying
Banks. Like I know apparently they're very hot, but like I can't.
Yeah, I need a like more of age thing.
Watch the OC, you guys. If you've never watched the OC, that's fun. Or Laguna Beach.
Yeah, those shows are making a comeback right now. Like it's time. It's like they're vintage now. They're like, my nieces are like, oh my gosh, I love vintage TV like Jersey Shore. And then I feel
hilarious.
So yeah,
that's amazing. My boyfriend's like nieces asked me who Paris Hilton was the other day, and I was like, "Wow, the hope for America."
You precious children.
It's amazing. All right, well, I've kept you forever.
Cool.
I feel like
I think we got it. I feel I feel like I was talking. I hope it was good.
It was great.
I think it was. This was really fun.
So fun. I hope, I know you're gonna get reinstated, but what a funny day. I was gonna be like, where can everybody find you on the internet?
I guess now on Instagram at the Ashley Ray. My website www.theashleyray.com. I'm sure my Twitter will be back eventually at the Ashley Ray. Yeah. So
amazing. And Ashley, I have to ask this to all of our guests after a sexual experience, which this has been. Did you finish?
Yes.
Okay, amazing.
Absolutely. I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Of course. And we will see you guys next time on How Come. Goodbye.
Bye.
Robin, say goodbye.
Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just